Part 3, the vibraphone. The vibraphone is very different. The keys of the vibraphone are metal rather than wood, which gives it a completely different tone quality. And like any metal instrument, it rings. So the vibraphone has a pedal, just like a piano pedal. Down, pedal down, pedal up. The difference between the vibraphone pedal and the piano pedal is the vibraphone only has a single bar of felt, so it doesn't have a damper for each individual note the way the piano does. If you play the vibraphone with the pedal up, it's staccato. Just simply no ring. The range of the vibraphone is fairly standardized. It used to be the most standardized of the family. And as you see on the page, now fairly recently, companies have come out with an extended range vibraphone. Our second vibraphone that we bought 2 years ago at TCNJ is a 3.5 octave instrument. The standard range of the vibraphone is 3 octaves, F below middle C, 3 octaves up, to the F 3 ledger lines above the treble staff, sounding at pitch, not a transposing instrument. So the 3.5 octave instrument goes down same as the xylorimba, goes down below the range to the C below the staff. The difficulty in this case is not so much repertoire, because there's only a limited amount of repertoire so far for the extended range vibraphone, but the fact that you can't use the same mallets on the very lowest end and the very highest end. You need to go with a softer mallet for the lowest half of an octave, and it doesn't work on the high register. And any hard mallet that you would use on the high end of the vibraphone would be much too hard for the low end of this extended instrument. So you always have to compromise with mallets. As I said before, a majority of the repertoire for vibraphone is written for the standard 3 octave instrument. This is still so disconcerting because it's because of this is a video on my phone, on my tablet actually. The low range looks like it's to my right, but it's not. This is my left hand side. This is my right hand side, even though it looks very funny on the video. The mallets for the vibraphone are almost always yarn wrapped or cord. I don't know if you can tell the difference between the yarn and the cord, just slightly different. You can see this phrase a little bit. And the significant thing about the vibraphone mallets is that they're significantly heavier than marimba mallets, because the metal bar requires a little more mass to get it vibrating. So the heavier vibe mallets, if I go over here and play the marimba, they sound very clunky. And the lighter marimba mallets don't get very much fullness of tone. They're very light and delicate sounding on the vibe, as opposed to the nice heavy vibe mallets that get a fuller tone. Again, we have standard hardness, medium hard, we have hard, and way over here where I forgot to bring them out, we have soft. The hard mallets are a little bit more interchangeable than the softs. The hard marimba mallets still get a fairly decent, just not quite as full as the heavier vibraphone mallets. The vibraphone, like the marimba, is also not designed to project as an orchestral instrument. It was originally a jazz instrument. It was popularized in the 1930s by Lionel Hampton in the Benny Goodman Orchestra and the Benny Goodman Quartet, and really is designed for that situation, for a small jazz combo up to a big band, and often amplified when you play when you have vibes in your big band. So on both the marimba and the vibraphone, if I'm playing them in band or orchestra, I play generally with a slightly harder mallet and a slightly louder dynamic, because they're not designed to project the way the xylophone is designed to project in the band and the orchestra. The thing that gives the vibraphone its name and its distinctive sound is that it has an electric motor that gives it a vibrato. The way this works, inside each tube, inside each resonator, is a metal fan, and they're connected to a motor, and they open and close the resonator, which gives the instrument a vibrato. You have a speed control, so you can go slower or faster. But the vibraphone is basically an acoustic instrument and is played very often without the motor, just acoustically. Back for a moment to the pedal. And as I mentioned, when the pedal is down, every note rings. It's not like the piano where I can have an individual note down and back up. When I play with the pedal up, as I demonstrated earlier, all of the notes are staccato, are stopped by the damper. So you can't have one note sustain and one note staccato, except we have some techniques that we can use for that purpose. The first is similar to the drum-to-drum muffling that we learned on the timpani, only instead of muffling with our hands, on the vibraphone we can muffle with the mallet. So I'm stopping the tone with the mallet, and I can then go back and forth and stop each tone consecutively and get one note to ring. I can play a chord, using that technique. The other technique we can use is called a dead stroke. How you execute a dead stroke is by keeping the mallet down on the instrument so that not allowing it to ring. As you can hear, this gets kind of a plunky sound, as opposed to the standard tone with the pedal up. The dead stroke is clunkier. But once again, I can keep some notes ringing, but not all. So those are the two techniques that we use for sustain on the vibraphone. Other than that, the pedal is used the same as the piano pedal. It's notated the same with pedal markings, pedal up, change pedal, etc. So as you go through and watch these videos, please think of questions, email the questions, but copy everyone in the class so that everyone is aware of the question and the answer. I think that's everything we need to know about the vibraphone. I'm going to reset for the glockenspiel and join you in a few minutes for part 4.